Welcome to St. Barnabas Episcopal Church. This is the outside of our historic 165-year-old church. And if you look over here, you can see our problem. Let's go inside and look at the church. As I said, 165 years ago, that's what was called a chapel of ease for a larger Episcopal church in Eldersburg. Chapels of ease were places people could get to when the weather was bad or the roads were impassable. It was built as a simple structure with floor walls to contain a sanctuary. Some of the labor was probably professional, some was probably contracted. This church has served us for all that time, but recently, last year, we discovered it had some problems. In the 1980s, we had discovered some interior structure issues that caused us to replace all the joists that support the floor in this area we're walking through. Sorry we're in such disarray. But then, last year, we discovered another problem in the form of the joists supporting our sanctuary. As you can see, these are actually tree trunks that were cut and planed off 165 years ago to support the floor. This is normally where our altar would be. But if we move over here, you can see some of what our problem is. We had a nest of termites who chewed through our joist and made them unstable. Plus, when we pulled up those to try to replace those supports, we discovered that the walls that frame our sanctuary, the walls on either side, had really very little structural support. So our problem became more complicated. We both had to figure out a way to support those walls and then replace all the supports for our floors. This is a major construction project, and the church estimates that it's going to cost us about about $25,000 to do this work, and that's with us doing a lot of the physical labor. So what we need help with in preserving our historic building is supporting this. We're a very small church. We have an ambitious campaign to try to raise this money, but we would appreciate any help that anyone could give. A few years ago, we undertook a similar restoration because our stained glass windows had plastic sheets on the outside to protect them from rocks and stones and vandalism. But we cleaned the windows and had them replaced at a cost of about $16,000. And although we only average about 50 to 60 people a Sunday, we did all of that. We raised all of that money ourselves. Wonder what termites can do to tree trunks. Here's the answer. As you can see, our joists that have supported the church for 165 years are reduced essentially to nothing by our termite visitors. Inside our recently renovated parish hall, which is where we're holding services during the time that our sanctuary is being repaired. Initially, this was the home where our pastor lived, but with money that we got, help from the diocese and from donors and from our own efforts, we renovated this into a meeting space for the church. It turns out we finished it just in time because we're going to be holding services here until our sanctuary is repaired.